What up, my peoples? Welcome to a brand new official episode of Trilliam's Twisted Vlogcast. This is completely impromptu, but I've been thinking about doing this video for many months. So I'm going to start by getting twisted. Cheers to all of you. Today we are talking about the worst trilogy enders in cinematic history. Four of them to be specific. It's a top three. I got an honorable mention. So let me crush this real quick. I'm going to rip my vape for legal purposes. And let's get into it. So I'm going to start off with a honorable mention. My honorable mention at number 4 is going to be The Hangover Part 3. Now, I don't have clips to show you guys. I'm not that sophisticated. This is all independent. But The Hangover Part 3. The first Hangover is a absolute classic. I literally have a poster on my wall. It's one of the best films of all time. Possibly the funniest film of all time. Hangover Part 2. Hangover Part 2 is funny. It's funny, but it is a lazy, recycled repetition of the first movie. Plot line for plot line. Other than the first 15-20 minutes of the movie, it's an exact copy and replica of the first one. So it's alright, because the first one's so good. The Hangover Part 3, though, and again, this is an honorable mention for two reasons. One being that The Hangover Part 2 did not warrant a sequel off of its quality, and the third part being that this should have never been a trilogy. They should have stopped after the freaking first one. Hangover Part 3 is it's not a comedy. It is a thriller comedy. Hangover Part 3 involves Leslie Chow, Mr. Chow, getting kidnapped, and for some reason I can't remember, the guys that we know and love have to pay John Goodman back. It's a very action-packed movie, except that's not what you want from a Hangover movie, and all of the action is terrible. The suspense is terrible. There are no stakes. When you watch a Hangover movie, whether it be the first one or the second one, which, for God's sake, I hope it's the first one. You don't need to watch the second one. You're in it for laughs, and The Hangover Part 3 has barely any. So that's my honorable mention. Number trace. We are going to talk about Spider-Man 3. Now, Spider-Man 3 is a movie that I hold... I'm a little biased towards it. I think it was part of my childhood, and Tobey Maguire was the first Spider-Man, the OG that we all know and love. However, the first two Spider-Man movies with Tobey Maguire from Sam Raimi are phenomenal. Perfect movies, in all honesty. I can't say anything bad about either of them. Spider-Man 3, which I'm assuming all of you have seen, duh. Spider-Man 3 is, it's tough, because deep inside, there's a good movie. And it's still an okay movie. This is not as bad as the next two. It's still a fine film. It just sucks compared to the first two. You have too many villains in the mix. You've got Sandman, Harry, New Goblin Harry, and Venom. Sam Raimi did not want to include Venom. He wanted it to only be Harry Osborn and Sandman. So, basically, you've seen the movie. Peter Parker gets infected by the symbiote, and there's an amazingly cringe-worthy montage of him dancing and doing all kinds of cringe shit. There's a scene at a jazz bar or something. You know, it's another dance scene. It's awful. All of it is awful. It almost feels like, if I didn't know any better, I would say Sony told Sam Raimi that he had to put this stuff in his movie. He had to do Venom. He didn't want to do Venom. They said, you have to do Venom for whatever freaking reason. I think that he decided to troll Sony, tell them fuck you in his own way, and, you know, do the whole thing as a joke. That's what I think happened with the Venom subplot in Spider-Man 3. Especially the whole montage of Peter Parker dancing and, you know, his emo haircut. The whole thing just feels like parody. The Sandman retcon or Uncle Ben's death retcon with Sandman and Peter letting Sandman go, I don't know. If you take Venom out of the movie, you have more room for Sandman and to build his arc even further and make him a very sympathetic and captivating villain. So, I don't know. Spider-Man 3 is number 3. Number 2 is the brand new Halloween Ends. Now, I'm going to go full spoiler mode because I don't give a fuck. This is Trilliam's Twisted Vlogcast. Cheers to that, by the way. Halloween Ends is the trilogy ender of David Gordon Green's Halloween trilogy. The first David Gordon Green Halloween 2018, as it's commonly referred to, retconned all of the sequels and even changed the ending to the original Halloween, and that Michael got caught and did not get away. I love Halloween 2018. It is honestly maybe my favorite Halloween film. It's top 3 for sure. Halloween Kills, a lot of people did not enjoy. They did not like it. I thought Halloween Kills was really good. Definitely one of my favorite Halloween movies. This one, though, ooh. I mean, if you've seen it, I don't even have to explain it. Halloween Ends is a movie that has hardly nothing to do with its predecessors. Halloween Ends is about a kid who kills a child on accident in a hilarious fashion and crosses paths with Michael, who is living under a storm drain, living in the sewer after the events of Halloween Kills, and this is supposed to be 4 years later. So that's actually the first thing. Halloween Ends rewrites every single rule you know about all of the other Halloween movies. It changes the whole dichotomy of everything. It breaks all of the rules that were firmly established in the movies that came before it. So that's terrible. So this kid crosses paths with Michael, this creepy killer type kid, and they form a baffling, dumbfounding bond and work together. And then Michael kills the kid, and then he fights Laurie. Laurie is hardly in the movie. The characters from the previous 2 movies are hardly in it. It's all about this new kid that you have no reason to care about. There's also the first act is a complete rom-com, and it's not even like a decent rom-com. It's awful. So I watched this on Peacock with my family. I'm very glad we didn't go see it in theaters. I was pissed off just watching it at home. If I had saw it in theaters, oh man, I would have been mad. There's some cool kills in it, and the ending is cool, and that's about all I can say. Wrapping things up now, trying to make this short because I have a shitty iPhone. Number 1 is The Rise of Skywalker. I have only seen The Rise of Skywalker once. I saw it in theaters when it premiered in December 2019, I believe. I will probably never watch it again. This is a very hard one for me, because I am in the vast minority that loved The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi. Love them. Love them both. Do they have their problems? Yes. Are they the best Star Wars films? Debatable. Are they two of my favorite Star Wars films? Absolutely. Love both of them. The Rise of Skywalker, I could make a whole video on how bad The Rise of Skywalker is. There is hardly any action. The action you get is not memorable in any way. There is a terrible romance angle that is set up when Rey resurrects Kylo Ren from the dead with a kiss on some Twilight type shit. It's literally like, what is this, fucking Twilight? The Rise of Skywalker plays out like the worst, cringiest fan fiction imaginable. And that's really all I have to say about that without getting myself worked up. It's fucking awful. And it really, it tarnishes The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi, because it undoes half of everything that both of those movies do. And both of those movies, all the characters and their arcs are so well written. And The Rise of Skywalker just fucks up the whole thing. So anyway, guys, that's a wrap on Trilliam's Twisted Vlogcast. Episode whatever, I don't even care anymore. And stay twisted, stay safe, and I love you all.